Hi, this is Kim Pinkney and welcome to my channel. Today I just feel like doing something a little different. I'm going to be coloring in another dollar store coloring book. This is Justice League Unlimited, and it's $1. And it's everything you'd expect it to be in a coloring book and an activity book. I'll flip through some of the pages so you can see what I've got here. That's not bad. That's interesting. Okay. The picture that I am thinking of working on, let's see. It's going to be Green Lantern. I'm going to do that one first. Some of the things that I look for in a coloring book is that it's got big enough area space so that I could use a crayon in it. These are kind of decent, but I like doing faces. Let's see. There we go. This is the beast I'm going to work on. Before I start, I kind of look for a source image that of both the character and you know, how I want it to look. I'm not going to put any baby oil on this. I don't think I'm going to have too many problems getting things to blend and whatnot. And in order to overcome like the tooth of the paper, I'm going to do this one technique where I use some Crayolas and my water brush, and I'm going to kind of put like a little base layer in certain spots. Let me see. And just kind of use it like a watercolor. And it just adds a little bit of a base to it. I never used to do it. I did it once and I like the results. So I'm going to try it again on this one. Orange or pink will work just fine for the skin. This character is going to have like a reddish skin tone, reddish brown skin tone. Let me see if I can find an orange marker. And what I'm doing is basically rubbing the marker against some plastic. There we go. I don't need too much because he doesn't have that much space there. A lot of his body is just pretty much covered with clothing, his costume. Okay. And then I'll do another one with green, and then I'll do that in the green areas. I have no idea what I'm going to do for the background here, but we'll figure it out when the time comes. I'm also going to, after I apply the base, I'm going to dry it with my hot air gun. So I just mix these in, and while it's still wet, just go ahead and coat this bad boy. Now this coloring book is not made for wet medium, so you may see it start to buckle. It just won't look right. And basically what I'm going to go ahead and do is just coat his whole head. And right now it's buckling. You can see the other side. It's not a problem. Just keep going. Okay. So one little coat will do it. And then I'll do the green parts. Now, if you've watched one of my coloring videos of a dollar store, I did a prince in this sort of method. It was just his face, and then I immediately dried it with my hot air gun. Now you can also use a hair dryer. Either one will work really well. Add a little bit more green. In this set, I'm going to be using my 100 set of crayons as a selection, and my I'm going to use some glitter crayons just for giggles because I like glitter. And it's pretty subtle. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's not going to be like he sneezed glitter or anything like that. It's pretty subtle. It's a manly glitter. It'll be alright. And I'm just going to coat all this in green. And that just will give me like a bit of a base layer. It'll change the texture of the paper just a bit. I'm going to heat this up. See, I'm pretty much drying it to where you can't see the other side again. And as a result, you kind of get like a little texture. It's kind of bumpy. That's okay. We'll overcome that. All right. Okay. So, for the skin tone, I'm going to have to sharpen a couple of my colors here, maybe. Let's see, I'll use some of my fresh ones here. I'm going to start off with a highlight. Now, I'm thinking that I'm going to have the highlight up on top here. A little bit around him. There will be like an aura around him of like light, and I'll have one around the ring too, and around his chest, just for giggles. Alrighty, and you can see the white pretty well. I'm just raising it up, and you can see where I've added the white. And I'm not going to follow the regular color scheme for, not color scheme, but the way that they usually color their character. I'm going to make them look a little bit more realistic. Just a little, not too much. So in order to do that, I use a real person as kind of like my model. Now when I add my my highlight, I'm also adding it lightly in some places where I think colors are going to be lighter, and then where colors are going to be like really hot, like where the light's hitting it super hard. So I'm going to assume that my overall lighting is coming from above. So everywhere that is exposed to the light will have like a higher white content. It'll be brighter. The further I move from the light, it'll be going into darkness and then back into light because of some of these things here. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and add the aura around here. Now, you don't have to add the aura first. You can always add it last, because we can always melt the white crayon onto whatever we're having above, you know, whatever I'm going to be putting on top of the rest of the drawing. Let's see. this drawing is really super simple, not a lot of detail, so we'll probably be through this pretty fast. And we're just giving him that aura. And that's just that light that goes all the way around. All right. And I believe his boots and his cuffs are green as well, so let me just double check. They are. Okay. So what I like doing is having multiple colors going at the same time. What I mean by that, I like to choose at least 3 colors. One for a highlight, one for a mid-tone, and another one for my shadows. Come on, green, work with me. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try to get my green to pop out here a little bit better. I'm going to put like a little bit of green into the cuff and the boots. Wrong lid. Okay. Like when you do one of these coloring books in this technique, don't expect to use the other side. I tried to do a double-sided image with the Hulk in a coloring book like this. Hulk turned out okay, the other picture on the other side got messed up. And then vice versa. As I started to warm up the Hulk side, you could see the other side in its crayons coming through. This paper is not thick enough to support color on both sides. Not nice and neat. Okay. Alright, not bad, not a bad start. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dry these until I can't see the other side anymore. Just a few seconds. Alright, now I'm going to try to figure out where my highlights are going to be on here. I think because this is sticking out, I might have a bit of a highlight right here. So I'm going to put that on the top. I might have a bit of a highlight up here. So I'm going to add a little bit of white here. Now I don't like a lot of black in my images. Simply because I feel cheated. It's like, why'd you color this for me when I could have done it myself? So what I like doing is going into the black and adding a little bit of white. What this is going to do is that it's going to allow me to color over this and add another color. I did the same thing on a Catwoman picture where I felt like it was cheating me. Oh, and Spider-Man, where there was a lot of heavy black, and I just felt like I wanted a little bit more coloring space, because really when you look at some of these, the only coloring space that you have is the edges here, and you don't have very much. So I am adding my own. Okay. Alright, crayons. Alright. And I'm going to put a little bit here too, so that the transition is not so quick, is how I like to think of it. So I'm going to be using a little bit of purple. Purple and the green kind of go together in the black area. And it just adds a little bit more richness to the black. Maybe a little bit more roundness. Okay, so now I got to pick out the colors that I want to use. I'm going to use green as my dark tone or mid-tone. I'm going to use a light green yellow. Let's see, this is green yellow. I'm going to use that as a highlight. There's an even brighter green yellow. This is spring green, and I'm going to use a little bit of that. And even a little bit more of a transition for this one. I'm going to go ahead and add this green here. This one here is yellow green. So I'm going to use these three greens, and I might even find a deeper, darker green right here. This one here is asparagus. Okay, so wherever I think it's going to be a little bit darker, I'm going to use the asparagus. So about right here. Now at this point, you don't have to be gentle. You don't want to break your crayon either. They're pretty fragile. And it just will make it a little bit harder to color if you break it, which really sucks. And I'm pretty much just hitting the areas where I think it's going to be really dark. Giving him some muscles. And you want to think in terms of roundness as well. Okay, and then down here, for things that are kind of horizontal, like these right here, they're kind of like a cylinder shape. I kind of like to have, Amaris, good morning! I like to have like a strip right here, because it's like the closer you get to light, it's hot, and then the further you travel, like say you're a little man on the moon, and you're in the highlight of the moon where it's really bright, as you walk away from the top of the moon and come down, 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 it starts to get darker and darker until it gets almost black, and then it starts to lighten up again because that's the cast shadow. So I like to throw a little bit of the dark here. This one looks like the body's going to cast a bit of a shadow, so I will have this be dark here. Highlight would probably be on the edge there. I would add in the center here of his foot and his ankle. Make that dark, and like right here in the center, you can see some of the shadows that they've already given us. So like this right here is kind of in shadow. All this black here is kind of like a darker version. So I'm going to follow that dark here and just bring that down as well. We're going to give it an illusion that it's glowing a bit. And you want to throw a lot of crayon onto it, because we're going to end up blending. And the more crayon that you have on here, the more that you can blend with a blending stub. So basically my supplies that I'll be using are crayons. I've used the markers. And I can also come back and put markers on top to make it even richer, a deeper, darker tone. Okay, now that I've got the darkest green on here, I'm going to go with the forest green. Let's see. Forest green is a little bit lighter, so I'm going to put that above where the darker green is. It'll give us another transition, and I'm also going into that the other green as well. If you go over it completely, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. The core of it will still be dark the way we need it. Hey Amaris, I am dying to see that book that you have. I think I'll look for it today. I keep forgetting to look for it and buy it because I'm really curious about what they're saying about coloring with crayons. I'd love, 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 love to see. Okay. Yeah, Amaris has got a book where it's a how to color with crayons. And me, I've been pretty much just teaching myself. Okay. All right. So now I got another shade of green on there. That's like a transition from the dark green to light green, and this is the highlighted green. That's our base color green. I'm going to use a bit of the light green. This is green yellow, and I'm going to go right above the green that we just placed and a little bit into the green that we just placed without messing up the highlight too much. And I'm going to go a little bit beneath the green, the deeper, darker green. So it's kind of like a little sandwich. Sandwich it. Okay. Stay away from the edge. You don't want that you don't want to go all the way to the edge. Right now we're just playing with the greens here. And we're going to do something similar in his face. We're going to have about 3 colors of different shades of brown. And we're going to do something similar. But the face has more contours than the lengthwise of the body. So I'm not worried too much about that. Okay. And then yellow is going to be the ultimate bright tone. Make sure your yellow is clean. My yellow is not clean, so I need a cleaner yellow. Let's see, here it is. This one's a fresh yellow. This is laser lemon, so I assume this is going to be like crazy bright, which is going to work just ducky for us. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm taking that and putting it above and a little bit into the first green. I'm kind of coloring in a circular motion. Not that it really matters so much. It's the dust that's kind of annoying that pops up on here. So before we apply any heat, we're going to wipe some of that stuff off. Because we don't want little specks all over the place. Unless that's the effect that you want to get. Okay. Now these look kind of like action lines here. Like him, like an action type of thing. Let me see what color the lantern on the inside is. Okay, the lantern in different pictures is black and sometimes it's gray, so we'll make sure that this is kind of like a we'll have it like a deep dark purple. We'll have a little bit of black, a little bit of purple, or let's see, let's do this. I'll color it purple first. So the thing about it is that we've already got a lot of black on here already. And so we'll have like black into purple. Opposite of purple on the color wheel. Let's see. So here's purple. So we'll use like a green tone on top of that. And with the green tone, that should bring it to a deeper, darker purple to almost black. So I'm going to use the asparagus here. And what you'll do is you'll layer to get to the tone that you want. Just alternating back and forth with the colors. And then on the inside of it, let's see, it looks like it's white. And I think what we'll have it be is kind of glow a bit. So in order to get that glowing look, I like to use white around it. My white's a little dirty. When you're trying to get the highest brightness, you want to make sure that your colors are clean. You can wipe it off on a shirt. cloth like this, and that'll clean it without taking too much off. Let me take some of these specks off. And then I like to go over it with another color like this yellow, or let's see, I think it's gonna glow. We'll have it glow like a greenish yellow. So I'll use this color here, a laser lemon. And we'll just kind of alternate between white and laser lemon. And that'll kind of give us a bit of a glow. And then into this part right here where I just put the highlight, I'm going to put some purple. And I'm going to have the purple kind of go this way, just a little bit. Just want to get this to be a nice rich tone instead of it just being straight up black. And I'm getting it close to the edge, but not exactly on the edge. Because that's going to kind of be our highlight right there on the edge. And we'll just ease into it just a bit. And it'll fuzzy up a little bit. And it'll give it like this soft glow type of thing. We could even use two different purples. Like a dark purple here in the black, and then a lighter purple closer to the white. Or you can just cover it with white, and that'll diffuse some of the purple going closer to the white here. Now if we want his outfit to look really super shiny, we would add more white on top. And what I'm doing here is I'm throwing a little bit of purple in the very center of the greens here. And that'll be the deepest, darkest tone. When you have, one of the rules of light is like if you have like a super bright highlight, there'll be a corresponding dark. So, and in between will be gradients of the two, depending on the type of material that you're on. So, like if you're on something shiny, it may be a more abrupt transition. If you're on like skin, it might be a more subtle transition. It just depends on the material that it is. Okay. And then I'm going to come around with my white, and I'm going to bring the purple close to the edge. And it will have a softer purple. Let's see. Let me wipe some of this off. And you can even on one side of the purple and the other side of the purple. So on either side of the purple, you can really bring out more of his muscles. If you know your muscle shapes and masses, you can do that. And what my white is doing is just basically softening up the purple here around the edges. And I still haven't applied the heat yet. Not quite ready. You just want to get a lot of wax onto the paper, the crayon. You want to get a lot of the crayon onto the paper before you start to blend. Let's see. So I'm going to throw a little bit more green in here. And I'm going to use a little bit of purple in some of the green too, just to make it a deeper, darker green. And it gives us that rounder look. Go, and then I'm going to add a little bit more green. I'm going to throw some dark green in here. This here is the asparagus again. And it's pretty much trying to mix with the purple a bit. All right. Okay, so I'm going to jump on his face real quick. Let's see. He's got some orangish brown tones. Let's see. So that's kind of like a mahogany or a rust tone. This here is bittersweet. And in his cheekbones, I've got a little bit of bittersweet. Now, whatever model you decide to use, you may have different colors. So what I do is I kind of pick out the colors that are predominant on the face before I start, dipping into other colors as needed. So right here is bittersweet. It gives us a rust tone. I'm going to get a darker brown. Let's see. Dark brown, dark brown. Let's see. This one here is brown. Let's see. This color here is chestnut. And it looks like it's kind of like an in-between tone. And then I'm going to use like, let's see. I might not use all these browns. This one here is burnt orange. And then I'm going to bring out like apricot or peach. Okay, this one here is peach. And peach is going to kind of work with the highlight of the, what was that one? Of bittersweet. It's going to work with a little bit of the bittersweet. So these two colors are going to make up his lighter tone. He's got a white highlight. In the shadow, I'm going to be having brown. And I don't have a lot of real estate here to play with, so I'm kind of like using little lines in order to get to the places that I need. But on the whole, I usually like having a lot of face to play with. I'm going to use a little bit of purple on the top of his head, just a little, and that gives us a little bit of a darker tone, but it also ties this purple in with the rest of him. So like where I need the brown to be a little darker, I'm going to have a little bit of the purple to help me darken that up. And then I'll go over it with another color. And I think I'm going to end up using a little bit of the marker to define like his eyes, because you know they still look cartoony. So I'm going to probably like curl them down a little bit, throw some highlights in his eyes, just different things. I could make his eyes kind of like glow green. You know, it's like I am like so into Captain America, Green Lantern, into my lantern that even my eyes are green. Why not? Now you can also do the flat coloring, kind of like how they have on the cover, where it's like they have like a subtle, like they have the whole tone, they color it the whole tone, and then come back with like white in here. And maybe I might do that with one or the other colors, but it's kind of fun to see how I can push this envelope a bit. Okay, I'm gonna go over the lighter parts with the peach. I still have the base tone on here working with me as well. And where it's lightest is here on his brow, because it sticks out further. His his upper lip is pretty dark, so I'm going over that with brown, and then I'm going to use a little bit of purple at the very where the two lips meet. I like having a lot of space. You really don't want to work with any space that's smaller than the tip of your crayon. So either we have to sharpen it, or I just can't get there. Can't get there from here. Okay, a little bit of his bottom lip will have a bit of pink in it, and that's probably the only place that I'll probably use pink. So just a little right here in the center, and put that away because this is not a lipstick thing. Okay, and then here is chestnut, and I'm going to go over the lips a bit with a little bit of chestnut, only on the sides. Okay, and then I'm going to use a little bit of this peach here on his cheekbone, because right here it's pretty light, a lighter shade of brown. And the further, because it's getting the light, is pretty much why that is. Alrighty, and then a little bit of his scalp is getting a little bit of the light brown. And I'm just pretty much going over everything up here. I want the colors to kind of blend together, and then I'm going to go over it with brown. And bro's got like a hot white part right here, really hot. Okay, all right. And then underneath his chin, I'm sorry, not underneath his chin, underneath his bottom lip, I'm going to add a little bit of brown. And I'll have that extend out. All right. That's not bad. This is a good start. Okay, so now I'm going to warm stuff up. Got to wipe everything down. And get ready with my blending stump right here. You only have a limited amount of time to start blending things. I'm going to clean off my stump with some sandpaper. I had bought some sandpaper and just cut it up. It's pretty cheap. It's like $3, maybe $2. Bought it at Walmart. You don't have to have the card. You know, like there's an artist. What is it called? Like an artist block where it sells you a limited number of not scratch paper, but sandpaper, when you can easily just buy some sandpaper and cut it up and use it at your leisure. Okay, and then I just took a little piece of cardboard and stuck it underneath to give me some backing. Okay, I'm going to heat this up a bit. And then I'm going to just blend some of the colors in to each other, so the transitions are kind of smoother. Blending it a little bit into the white. And then we'll repeat adding colors as we need them. So like if it's still not dark enough or light enough, or I want to get a little bit more colors on here, I can do that. Okay, so now I want this to be a little bit more brown. Yeah, I think I'll make his eyes green. I'm going to add green in here. And then make a little bit of yellow around that green. And then I'll add a little bit more detail with my pen and markers. Okay. Add more brown in some of the shadows. And again, this is like super tiny. All right, we're doing okay on the time. We're almost there. Almost done. Alrighty. And just keep referring back to your source image where colors should go. Especially if you're trying to get it to look a little bit more realistic. And then I'll come back with, let's see, this color here is chestnut. All right, so I'm going to warm this up a bit. Now, if you still don't see movement of tone or color, you can always either use a little bit of baby oil, just dip your tip into it, wipe it off a bit so you don't have too much baby oil on there, and that will also get things to blend. But this is blending just enough for me to do what I need to do to it. It's just really super tiny. All right. And wherever I want it to be just a little darker to give him more of a cheekbone, just add a little bit of purple. And a little bit of purple here. And this is, I'll raise this up in a second so you can see it a little bit better. Or, let me see if I can bring it down some. Don't want anything to spill. Alright. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure I got his face so that you can see it. And that's what I'm working with right now. I'm just rubbing that in a bit, trying to get it to blend. Okay, I'm going to go over it again with some brown. This right here is the burnt orange, and that gives us his really warm tones where the light is hitting it the hardest on his cheekbones. And like pretty much like his little T-zone here. Like right here and right here is getting the light the most. And then the further away from that, it gets darker and darker. And because this is really tiny, I'll end up having to use my markers to compensate for some of the areas that are just too fat for my crayon. Alright. Alright, okay, so let's move on. Okay, that's heated up the crayons a bit. I'm going to go ahead and blend them. Now this is a different type of paper compared to, this is more of a newsprint type of paper. And it really just sucks up the crayon. And so you kind of have to layer your crayons. You really want to get about 2 or 3 different colors to really get some nice rich tones and variations. And if you have a big enough area, this right here is yellow-green. And I'm just adding more crayon to this. The more wax on here, the better. Then you can really get them to blend together. And I'm going to use another green. This one here is Shamrock. And that adds another rich tone to it. And this is more of like a blue-green or more green-blue color. And it seems to work really well with these. I missed his ears on the sides here, so let me go ahead and color a little bit of that. I'm not going to be able to get like a lot of detail. I'm kind of throwing a little bit of this laser lemon around the edge of his face because I want that kind of lighting up as well. So there's a lot of light happening in these areas. Throw a little bit of purple here. We only got a few more minutes. Now, the closer that you get to a light, the more that it'll start taking on a little bit. If it's reflective, it'll take on a little bit more of that light. So since this is closer to this, I'm going to make this light up. Like it's kind of reflecting off of that. I'm going to make this area kind of light up, and this kind of area right here light up a bit. Anything where this light is surrounded, and you can give it like a halo to make it hit it. And if you need to hit it even harder, we can melt the yellow crayon onto it. Here we go. We'll get a little bit onto this fist. So since it's going to be bright, I'm going to throw a little bit more yellow onto his face here. Just to make it look like super bright. Okay, keep that shamrock close. And you could also, to make this look brighter, give it a background, a darker background, and this will make this look brighter. I'm going to go ahead and rub a little bit in here. I've got about 20 minutes, and then I gotta get going. And there are still some places that I did not see, or I missed just a smidge. Okay. And I'll go ahead and hit those right now. Yeah, with this coloring book, it gives you a lot of freedom to experiment with colors. So like, I can have a little bit of yellow on this side, and I can have a different color on this side. A lot of freedom. So don't just color it just all regular and junk. Go ahead and experiment with your lighting. You have a lot of freedom for this. Okay, I'm going to melt a little bit of a white crayon just so that I can add yellow on top of it and make it really super glow. So let me do that. And I made it so that it would kind of almost melt. And of course, always wipe your crayon off. And I'm going to put crayon around the outside of the yellow. And I'm going to kind of dip into that yellow. And then I'm going to add like a little bit more yellow. Okay, yellow. I'm going to warm it up. See if that'll do it. It's a little slightly different yellow. And I'll add a little bit of that into this. Okay, I'm going to raise this up a bit so we can see it all together. There we go. And then I'm going to make this yellow a lot brighter. Where's the other yellow? Here we go. laser yellow. And it gives it like a different effect too. You got like, sometimes when the crayon melts, you get different, slightly different effects here. All right. Okay, so we've got a little bit of yellow on the sides here. We've got a little bit of yellow playing right here as a highlight. Got a little bit of yellow hitting it here. Got it hitting it hard here. And we'll just light up his hand. We'll make that all yellow-green. And then we'll just kind of color on the inside. And we'll make that like this yellow-green inside. We just really want to give it this like glow. I'm going to warm up the paper just a little bit. And then I'm going to throw a little bit more white. And I'm going to have some of the white go into that yellow. And it softens it up a bit. Alright. Okay, so we got that kind of thing going on. And then around the edges of him, we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to throw some white around him. And then we'll use a little bit of this yellow-green. What is it? Yeah, green-yellow. And we'll go over the white with that. We'll just go all the way around the perimeter of him. All right, so now we're glowing, and the trick of this to make this yellow really stand out is to get the opposite of yellow in the background. Since yellow's and yellow green, this is green yellow. The trick to make that stand out a lot more. So we would need on the opposite of, let's see. So yellow, you want its complement. Its direct complement is like this blue and this kind of purple. So we got that action going on right here. So this purple is going to make this yellow stand out more, and the yellow makes the purple, you know, vibrant as well. So they kind of play off of each other. Let's see. And so we probably just want something in a cool family. Yellow is a bright, warm color, so we'll probably want a deep dark of something else that's cool, a cool tone. And I'm just throwing a little bit of purple here in his face. Just to make it a little bit darker. Okay. And I'm going to use a little bit of my markers here. Let's see, what colors do I need? I think I'll use a little bit of this brown. And what this does is it just makes things a little darker. It enhances some of the tones that I couldn't get to. and just lets me define my face a little bit better. It goes right over the crayon, no problem. And I'm going to give him a little bit of a shadow underneath his chin. And then I'm going to define a little bit of his muscles. Where it's, I think it would be darkest. Kind of what they're doing here. And then I could take my blending stub and just kind of blend it in with the color. And that just makes the colors just a little bit more enhanced. And it's subtle. But you got to do it quickly while it's wet. I'll go ahead and give him a little bit of eyeball there. And I'll give him some lashes. Okay. Then we just define his nose. It's a lot easier when it's a little bit bigger. You can get your details in there, no problem. And I'm going to give him more defined lips. All right. All right. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. And then I could go over with other crayons as well, other markers. Let's see. I've got a little bit of the green here. Just enhance it. Okay. Now I had a blue in here. Okay. And this here is a signature marker, and this is blue I'm using, and I'm going into the purple just a bit. Gives it a little bit more definition. I can shape him a little bit more. And what's funny is it kind of blends in with the greens and the blues. I mean, the greens and the yellow, and it brings it out more. And I'll color this part in too. All right. Not bad, not bad. Okay. And then you just keep layering your colors just as much as you want in order to get to the tones that you want. So I got a little bit of that shamrock going on. Where's the other green? Let's see, this one here is a yellow green, and that'll brighten it up. And then I'll just go ahead and spread some of the love around with my blending stub. Okay. Now if it doesn't let you use your blending stub to move stuff around, just go ahead and heat up the paper, add more, you can add more crayon to it. Yeah, this thing is like a crayon sponge. So just try to keep that in mind. If you really want to get some movement on here, you're going to have to add a lot of crayon. So you can press as hard as you want, just don't break your crayon, because that's really frustrating. You can get some really rich colors, really rich tones. So I've got about 4 different types of greens going on in here. I've got a little bit of marker. I was going to use the, what's it called? I was going to use the glitter crayon that I have. Let me see, what color is it? It's got a weird, okay. Let's see what it do. I was thinking about using it like in, around the edges. There we go. So now we're kind of sparkly too. So I'll bring this up close so you can kind of see. It's kind of subtle. Alrighty, so that's all I've got time for this morning. I've got 10 minutes to get hustle myself right on out. Let's see if we can get this to glitter. I don't see the sparkles so much. There they are. So he's kind of sparkly. Well, thank you for watching. I didn't get to finish the rest of it. Maybe I might be able to do that tomorrow, or maybe later on tonight if I have enough energy. We'll go ahead and do the background to try to bring out, to make that yellow really stand out. So pick up a dollar store coloring book, pack of crayons, and break out your hot air gun or your curling iron. That's going to work real well. And break out your blow dryer and see what you get. These are hogs when it comes to crayon. You know, it really just sucks it up. So you really got to throw a lot of crayon on there in order to get them to blend. Or you can use baby oil, and baby oil will help you blend your gradients as well. All right, so I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to see me do Wonder Woman and all the other characters in this book. I'm really anxious to get along and get to some like Hawk Girl or Hawk Woman, I don't know what they're calling her these days, Martian Mindhunter, and I'd love to see what she would look like using this kind of technique where I am actually throwing some definition and it's not just a Bruce Timm picture. So it's kind of like from that to that type of thing. And I'll show you how I do it, and just like and subscribe and stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.